If you're about to get married, you're ready to tie the knot. You're ready to be serious. You're ready to be committed. You want to be with this woman forever. If that is you, this video is very important. So you're ready to get married. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. Marriage is a great thing as long as you establish a few things in the beginning. Now, maybe you've established those things before. Maybe dating with your woman was great. Maybe being engaged, living together, whatever your situation is, maybe it was great, but now you want to continue it being great when you're married. So what does that mean? That means before you get married, make sure you do a couple things, because if you don't do these couple things, either you're going to be miserable the whole time or it's going to end up in a divorce. I don't think you want that. So the first thing that you have to establish and get your mind around is that a marriage is not the same as dating, and it's not the same as being engaged. Yeah, you may have started dating her for a while, but you notice that now I'm ready to be committed. Now I want to be engaged with her because I want to marry her. But the thing is, where you guys fail is you bring the mindset and the ideas outside of the marriage into the marriage. A marriage is not a date. A marriage is not engagement. A marriage is a marriage. You have to be that leader, because it's a little bit different from just dating somebody and actually being in a committed relationship where you're married. Now, the second thing is you have to discuss your core values. What do you want in your marriage? What is a non-negotiable? What is something that at the end of the day, if your core values and her core values don't align, or she doesn't respect your core values, or she doesn't even care about your core values, that could be a deal breaker. And I say that because a lot of guys, they get into marriages and they don't explain or express or communicate or discuss anything about what they want in a marriage. And they wait until later on, they hold on to it, they become resentful because they never said anything. So you can't get upset if you don't communicate what you expect in a marriage. You can't get upset if you don't communicate what your core values are, what you want for your marriage. So that's very important, is to communicate that. Now, if you communicate that and she's on board and she agrees with it, or your core values line up with hers, great. The problem happens when you have your core values, you express it to her, but she's not on board. She doesn't have the same core values as you, or her core values are worse, or she has none at all. That's when it's a problem. And you have to ask yourself, if she has no core values and I have my core values that I'm set in, and she doesn't respect that, are you willing to let that relationship go? Or are you going to continue to stay in that relationship and just linger on without getting married? Or are you just going to let it go and just be married, even though her core values did not align with yours? And that's the other thing that happens a lot of times. Not that the guy resents the woman because he never told her his core values, and then later on in the marriage he tells her. A lot of times where guys mess up is because he tells her his core values, but she doesn't agree with it, and he still decides to continue with getting married, even though those deal breakers, she's going against it, because that's what you want. That's what you expect in a marriage. That's what your core values are. But you let that slide, and that's where you guys mess up. It's a lot of things you got to take into consideration, because this is the woman that you're going to be with the rest of your life. This is the woman that you're investing in and that you want to someday have a family with, or you just want to be you two for the rest of your life. But if things don't align in the beginning of the marriage, and you have certain core values that are important to you, you're just throwing it out the window if you decide to get married, even though she doesn't align with your core values and she doesn't respect your core values. And it happens all the time. It happens all the time. I'm telling you, it happens all the time. So that's what's important, guys, is have the marriage mindset when you get into a marriage. That's the number one thing, because the mindset and your thoughts are everything. If your mind is not there, it doesn't matter. If your mind is not there, it does not matter. When your mindset is there, and you know, I'm not going to take my ideas of dating or even engagement into the marriage, my mindset is this is now a marriage. This is a commitment. This is important for both of us. I'm going to treat her like my wife. She's going to treat me like her husband, and we're going to do great things within this marriage. And when you don't tell her your core values and you just let it linger on, you get married and your core values are right here, but you never say anything and she goes against it and you get upset or you get resentful, it's on you. So you have to say that in the beginning. And when you do say that in the beginning, if she's good with that, then hey, you guys will be great. If she's not good with that, then you have to do some thinking on if it's worth it for you to move on or continue into the marriage. That's very important. One last thing is your vision. What is your vision for the marriage? What do you want when it comes to sex? If you two decide to have children, do you want to have one child? Do you want to have no child? Do you want to have 5? What schools do you want them to go to? Do you want them to go to a public school, homeschool? Do you want them to go to Catholic school or Christian school? So many other things that you have to discuss in your marriage. Where do you see yourself the next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, all the way down the line? Where do you see your marriage ending up? And I don't mean ending up in a bad way. What I'm saying is, where do you want your marriage to be? And does your vision align with her vision as well? See, all these things are what create friction and problems within the marriage. When things don't align up, of course, nothing's going to be perfect, but where friction happens in the marriage is because you don't discuss anything. You do all this planning for the wedding day, but you don't do planning for the marriage. And that's the problem I see all the time. And it's no knock on women. I get it. I understand it. Planning for the wedding day, dressed to be this way. I want to get married here. The big day. We're just planning for the big day. That's all we're doing. That's all we're worried about is planning for the big day. But after the big day gets here and it's Monday morning and now we set into reality that, hey, we're actually married. What are we going to do moving forward? And that's why it's important to plan. That's why it's important to have the mindset of not just the wedding day, but the marriage. That's why it's important to discuss your core values, what you want in a wife, not just a girlfriend or somebody you're dating, but what do you want in your wife? What do you expect from her? What does she expect from you? And you communicate that in your vision of what the marriage actually looks like. Not the wedding, but the marriage. And when you take that in consideration and you understand that you have to express what you want and you have to communicate that assertively, it's going to make a big difference in your marriage. It's going to make a big difference in your relationship. And your relationship can thrive. Your relationship can be better than you expect it to be because you planned way before you got married. And planning not for the wedding, like I said, you're planning for the marriage. And that's it, guys. It's not rocket science. It's not something that has to be super confusing. It doesn't have to be days in, day out, just trying to plan everything and trying to figure out what's going on. It's very, very simple. It's very simple. Have the mindset of a husband. Have the mindset of a husband. Know what your core values are. What do you want in your marriage? What's the core values that are non-negotiable? What's your vision for your marriage? That's very important. What is your vision? And be able to move forward if everything aligns up, and be able to go your separate ways if everything does not align. And once you got that, you guys will be good. You guys will be good. So I just wanted to share that with you because this is some of the things that I've done because I know what I wanted. I know what the vision of a marriage was. We discussed a lot of things. And when you do the same thing, your marriage can be different than a lot of other people's marriages that you see where they fail. I don't want you guys to fail. I don't want you guys to invest too much time, invest too much money, and it just doesn't work out. I want you guys to actually be in a happy, loving, caring, respectful marriage. That's what I want for you guys. So if you found value in this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Make sure you comment, hey, this is what I liked about your video. Maybe you can talk about this or that, because these videos are for you. They're not for me. These videos are for you guys to help you be a better man, to help you get respect, to help you communicate assertively and get the intimacy and sex that you want in your relationship. Until next time, you guys have a great one. I'll see you later.